Today is Friday, August 19th, 2022. It is also day 183 of Blender, and today I'm going to do, guess what, another text animation using geometry nodes, and I'm going to add audio. And the audio that I'm using today is this one by um Music for Videos, Upbeat Funk Commercial. Yeah, so I'm going to use that, but I'm going to use the end of it. So I downloaded that already. I'm going to go to General. I'm going to go to the top to geometry nodes. I'm going to hide the spreadsheet, click on new for a new geometry node system, disconnect the input from the output, Shift A, add a string to curves node, and that's basically the text. I'm going to connect that to the output so I can see it, but I don't see anything yet because I don't have anything set as my string. Today I'm going to do something like maybe Sarai, my name, and then I'm going to do Shift A and get a fill curve node and put that in here and change that to n-gons, and that basically just gives faces to the letters. Although I want it to be standing, so I'll do Shift A, get a transform node, and that's going to transform like the location. So I'm going to rotate 90 degrees along the x-axis by changing the x rotation to 90. And the x-axis is the red axis, by the way. And now to give the letter some thickness, because right now it's like flat, I'll do Shift A and get an extrude mesh node and select the offset value and change it to 0.1, and that gives it some thickness, although I kind of see that it's not filled in the back. So to fix that, I'll do Shift A and get a join geometry node. Whoops. And put that in here to join the extrusion mesh node and also the fill curve node once I connect that to it, and now it's filled. Now I'm going to go to the string to curves node, and I'm going to click on this folder. And basically I downloaded this font from defont.com. It's called Bloomster, and I don't think there's an author, but it's called Bloomster, and I have it downloaded over here. I'm just going to use it, open it, and now it's going to look something like this, which I think is super, super cute. Like, it's so cute. Oh my God. All right. And then I'm going to set the material. So I'll do Shift A and get a set material node and put that here and just select the first material that I see. And I'm going to go into shading to kind of just pick a few colors and just randomly assign them to the letters. And I'll do that by first getting the Shift A object information node so that I can use this random little tag here, and I'll do Shift A and get a color ramp, which is where I'm going to actually select my colors and connect that to the principal DSDF, which is actually connected to the material output. And then I'll connect the random here so that it's randomly assigned, and then I actually have to pick colors because right now it's like just black and white. And I want it to be not a linear gradient of the colors, but just exactly those colors, so I'll do constant instead of linear. So I'm going to go to color palettes, so colors, and just go to color palette, palette generator, and just kind of see. I kind of want like a yellow, I don't know, something. What is like orange, yellow type of thing? Let me see if there's like, what do you call them? Trending color palettes. Um, let's see, which one would look good? Maybe this. I'll pick this one. And I'll just click on the first tag, select the little box, change the hex, and paste that in there. And then I'll click on this one, and then let's select maybe, I don't know, this pink color, and then click the box hex, change that in there, and then probably just, if that's the case, then I'll probably just do another one by adding a plus tag and just kind of putting it here. And I think that looks cute. All right, so it's every other letter. Um, it's pretty cute. Really, really cute. All right, I'm gonna leave it like that. I'm gonna go to rendered preview so I can see it. First of all, let me go to layout and then render preview. And I'll do Shift A and add a mesh plane. I'm going to press S to scale the plane, make it bigger. And then I'm gonna do G to grab and then X to grab along the X axis without letting go of G. Then I'm gonna go to tab. So that gets me into edit mode. I'm going to go top left corner over here, press on edge select, and then I'm gonna select the back edge, E to extrude, and then while still holding E, press Z to extrude along the Z axis, which is the blue axis, the up and down one. So then I'm going to go back into edit object mode, excuse me, by clicking on tab and going to modifier, add a bevel, and that's adding a bevel to that edge. And if you just increase the amount in the segments, it's just gonna act like kind of like a backdrop. So then I'm gonna apply that, right click, shade smooth, and then S again to scale, but along the X axis by pressing X. And then G, X a little bit like that. All right, and that's my backdrop. Now onto the, let's say the audio. I'm going to go to the top over here, click on video editing, video editing. I'm going to move this all the way to the left and I'm going to add a sound. And I believe that should be somewhere. I believe it's this one. And now if I just play it, I can hear it. All right, but I don't want the top. I want all the way at the end. So what I'll do is I'll go all the way to the end and I'll figure out what number it is. It's 1580, what? 1586. So I'll make sure that the video can actually go towards the end. So 1586, I'll change the end to be that. And then I want it to be at 1586 around there or 1550. All right, and then let me play it. So let me somewhere over here. Let me move it over here. I just want to get like the end part. So I think I wanted to start kind of over here. So maybe here, and then what I'll do is I'll right click over here and then click on split, and then just click on the part on the left and then press X to delete that and then move this all the way. There must be a way to just move this all the way to the left. Hold up. Remove gaps. How do I make it so that it goes all the way to the left? Set preview range strips. Nope, that's not what I meant. Well, I don't know. I'm just going to have to drag it until it just goes all the way to the left. Probably be faster if I just do this. All right. Whoops. Okay. Move it over here. Keep moving it. And then all the way over here to 0. And then play it. All right. And then let me go back to layout and then play it. Oh, wait. Let me go here. And it ends right about like 105. So I'll end my video there. And now let me get onto the animation part. So back to geometry nodes, I'm going to do like a bouncy animation. So first of all, to get anything to move, I'll have to do Shift A and get a translate instances node. And then put that in here. And what that does, it just moves my letters left and right, up and down, forward and backward, but I don't want all my letters to move at the same time and at the same place. So what I'll do is I'll go to the viewport and then I'll do Shift A at the viewport and add an empty sphere, or actually an empty single arrow. And that's going to end up being the controller. So what controls the movements of my letters. So I'm going to basically get the distance. So I'll do Shift A and get a vector math node. And change that to distance. The reason it's a vector math node and not a math node is because I'm getting the distance between two like actual shapes, that being the empty, which I'm going to get by dragging that from the outliner into the object, into the geometry node system, and then the position of each of the letters. So I'm going to get Shift A position node, and so I'm going to get the distance between that shape and the location of the empty, and that distance is the value that's going to determine how far my letters are going to translate, as you can see. So what that also basically kind of entails, if I remove it, I notice that from the distance between S and the controller, the empty, is 0. And so that translates, no pun intended, into the translation value, because if I connect that, if the distance is 0, then the S should not move. And if I connect that, obviously it doesn't move, right? Because the distance is 0, and so it's translating 0 units, right? So here's another problem though. I don't want it to be whatever like direction this is going in. I want it to just like move up and down. So I'll do Shift A and get a combine XYZ node and just make sure that I connect that towards the Y axis. So now it's moving like in the Y axis. And another problem is that I want my controller to, when it's like closer to a letter, for the letter to go up. So I want the controller to move my letter up instead of moving it down like it is right now. So what I'll have to do is I'm going to have to get the opposite of what it has right now. So I'll do Shift A and get a color ramp and just paste that right before the combine XYZ and just clicking on the little arrow and clicking on flip color ramp. And now I have my desired effect. It's looking kind of boring, so let me just pull up material preview so I could actually see it better. All right, and then what I'll do is I'll press G on the controller, and if I move it around, I can see it's like a bouncy effect, but notice that as I move it around, it's very rigid and it's all moving very fast and at the same speed. So what I'll do is I'll do Shift A and get a float curve node, and that's going to smooth down my movement over here. If I were to just, what happened? This thing just, okay, there we go. Just kind of select it and kind of do that. And then now when I move it, it's going to be more smoother and less rigid. And then I'll also do myself a favor and get a multiply node. So not a multiply node, a math node, because now it's just going to be math and not a vector math because it's simply an operation. Change it to multiply. And that value just kind of determines the height that it bounces to. So for example, if I were to just go to front view by pressing the button under the escape key and hovering over front, or numpad 7, oh, whoa, that's not, never mind, just front view and hovering over front. Okay, so I meant hover, I can't even speak today. I meant go to the button under the escape key and hover over front. And basically what that does, it allows you to see if you just like go through this, you notice that the letters kind of stop here. So what the multiplier does, it just increases the thing. So if I do this, then you notice that the letters are going to bounce and they're going to have a new height, but they're never going to stop. They're never going to pass that line. So clearly you can see that they're never going to pass that line. So that's what the multiplier does, which is pretty cool. So let me remove that note. All right, so that's it for the geometry nodes animation. So for this animation to actually show up on my video, I'm gonna have to actually put some keyframes in. So at the beginning of my video, I want my empty to be all the way to the left, right before it starts affecting the letter S. And so I'm gonna press on G and then X to grab along the X axis and move it right before it starts affecting the letter X. I'm gonna press my end panel to get that specific location, and I'm going to hover over. So for me, that's negative 1.0519 meters. I'm gonna hover over that location as long as I'm in keyframe 0 or 1, it doesn't matter. Actually, it does matter, keyframe 1. And I'm going to press I as I hover over that location, and that's going to insert a location keyframe on my timeline as like a little yellow diamond. And by the end of the video, which is like, what is it, 105, I want my little bouncy, not my bouncy, my controller thing to be at the end of the letter. So I'll do GX to move it along the X axis right after it stops affecting the letter I. So for me, that's 3.2541 meters. I'm going to hover over that location and I'm going to press I to insert that keyframe on the timeline. And now as I play it, it automatically does that for me, and and not only that, I hear the audio too. Okay, but here's the thing. As I move it, it doesn't match with the sound. So I'll have to kind of do that better. So I believe if I go to geometry nodes, the float curve is what does it for me. So let me see. If I just go ahead and layout, and then let me just open a new window over here. Let me go to the here, vertical split or horizontal split? Vertical. And then just open geometry nodes and then zoom in here. Get rid of this and then go to the float curve and just kind of edit it. Beautiful. Wow, I like the way that looks. Let me press N to get rid of that. All right, so let me play it one more time. I think it starts off a little bit slow though at the beginning. Or maybe I should start it. I feel like I wanted to start it. I don't know. How would I want to start it? if I started like over here and I just start at 16 maybe? That's better. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to 16 so all right, so I'm gonna leave it like that. I think that's how I'm gonna leave it. And now onto the rendering part. So I'm gonna go to output properties and I'm gonna go to output folder and I'm just gonna select the folder for my images to render to. So I usually just name it by date. So 1922. And then select that folder, make sure that's PNG images, because right now all it's going to do is just going to render the images and we're going to put them together later. One last thing I forgot to do though, the light, most important part, not really, but the light, I'm going to go to object data properties, change it to a sun, change to the strength to 3, and then G to grab, and then Y to grab along the Y-axis, move it like that, and then R to rotate, kind of so that it's facing the letters this way. And then I'll select the backdrop and give it a go to material properties and give it like a darker color so that it stands out. Kind of like that. And then front view by pressing the button under the escape key, hovering over front. And then I'm going to do Control Alt Numpad 0. And that's going to align my camera to the view. If that doesn't work, go to Edit, Preferences, Input, and make sure Emulate Numpad is on, and make sure you have a camera. To get out of this view, click on the middle mouse button. To go back into the view, press the Numpad 0. So I'm just going to do a little bit over here. Maybe zoom in a little bit more and play it. Maybe start at 18. All right, I think that's fine. And then I'm going to go into, oh no, that's literally it. Now I can just go and render. Wait, hold on. Let me make sure let me go to output properties and make sure okay, frame starts at 15, ends at 105, render animation, and then all of those frames should render as PNG images in that folder that I designated it to. All right, and now that I can see that all my frames are rendered, I'm going to X out of here, and then I'm going to go to video editing. If you don't see that, just scroll down, go to plus video editing, and then I'm going to go to the beginning, and I'm just going to add image sequence, and I'm going to go to that folder that I just had, and I'm going to select the first image, scroll all the way down, shift select the last image, and add image strip. And what Blender does is just put these together like so. And then now to render the final video, I'm going to go to output, go to the folder. I'm going to create a folder within the images so that the video can go in there. Except that I want it to go in as a FFmpeg video for file format. Under encoding, change the container to MPEG-4 and the output quality to high quality. Under video, and then the last thing for the audio to work, under audio, just make sure that the codec is set to MP3 or whatever you prefer. And that's literally it. Now I'm going to render animation, and it should render the whole thing as a video, and we'll see that in a few seconds. So this is the final result. And I just realized one thing. I forgot to make sure that it loops. That's why you see the black screen at the end. So in order to make sure that it loops, I'll go to layout, open up the timeline, and then press on T and make sure it's linear. And then yeah, that's literally it. And then just render again. And then it shouldn't look like that. So let me render animation again and it should override that. And if it doesn't, it's because I probably had to do it before I did the frames, but we'll see. So let me go here. And let's see. It stops because, oh, I think I did more than, ugh, whatever, it's okay. Either way, that's the animation. I just think I rendered a few more frames that weren't there. Um, but yeah, so to fix that, I would have to just end the video here, probably split that there. Um, Let me just split that and then delete this and then render again for the 5,000th time. And let's see if that works. 91. Now I'm going to render animation. Oh, is it this one? Oh, it's definitely not that one. I wonder why it goes black. Oh, over here, it ends over here. And that is keyframe 89, so let me change the end to be 89 then. I'm just gonna keep rendering until I figure this out. Yeah, so I figured it out. Now it's like, it doesn't have as in like literally yeah, this is the final result. Alright, that's it. I believe like the one tip that I got from this is that I have to make sure to press on T before rendering the video. Like it's the actual like rendering frames thing images. That's that. Yeah. Anyway, that's it for today. Bye.